Ghislaine Maxwell, convicted of aiding Jeffrey Epstein in the sexual abuse of teenage girls, is seeking relief from the US Supreme Court. Maxwell, currently serving a 20-year prison sentence, is appealing her conviction, arguing that a 2007 non-prosecution agreement Epstein reached with the government should have shielded her from prosecution. Her legal team argues that Epstein's plea deal should have also protected his associates. Let's listen in.
She has been treated unfairly for the past 5 years. She didn't get a fair trial. We're still appealing to the Supreme Court. We're going to be filing a reply in the Supreme Court on her cert petition on Monday. Remember, people have questioned her honesty, which I think is just wrong. Remember, a juror lied to get onto the jury, admitted to lying to get onto her jury. She did not get a fair trial. No prosecutor even mentioned her until Epstein died. So we feel that the process for Ghislaine has been unfair. She was denied bail. She was treated worse than an animal would be treated in jail when she was first held, woken up every 15 minutes. So we're just trying to get through the process where we are now and get her some relief. So that's where we are today.
Well, meanwhile, the case continues to cast a shadow over President Donald Trump. The US president has denied any wrongdoing despite past associations with Epstein, denying claims of his name appearing on those files. Let's listen to some comments.
No, I was never briefed. No. You're making a very big thing over something that's not a big thing. You should be talking about, if you're going to talk about that, talk about Clinton, talk about the former president of Harvard, talk about all of his friends, talk about the hedge fund guys that were with him all the time. Don't talk about Trump. What you should be talking about is the fact that we have the greatest 6 months in the history of a presidency, according to a lot of people.
Well, Mark, thank you for staying with us. Some comments there from Trump that we will need to unpack. But let's first look at Ghislaine Maxwell and her situation. Of course, some quite bold statements made by her legal representatives there. Do you think there's any validity in her sort of clamour for a further look into this and Supreme Court action over her convictions?
I think the number one thing about all of this is that every single thing in regard to the whole Maxwell case needs to be on the table. Every single thing. Now, he was then given that particular legal distribution that happened, I think, 2007 in Florida, which was a shock to many. It's not going to be surprising in one way, you could say, that her legal team will then take the next step, because all the comments, all the chatter, when Pam Bondi says there's nothing to see here, etc. That then gives them the opportunity to come back and raise all their legal concerns that they have. But she has had a long relationship with Epstein. Many people in America and around the world feel that they still do not have the answers that they have. And the MAGA movement promised that when he came into office that he would put all those papers on the table, and people are still asking for that. They're still clamoring for that, and within their legal system, then they think, right, okay, we'll go for an appeal on this issue to then say that this sentence, maybe try and get her off, or this sentence is far too long.
Yes, Mark, let's now look at the implications for President Donald Trump. You alluded there to the questions being raised, not just by his opposition, but his core MAGA supporters. Again, Trump questioned. Again, Trump deflecting, pointing the finger to Bill Clinton, among other names. Is this going to go away for Trump until potentially those files are released? Or if Trump's name is on there, as some reports from the Wall Street Journal have suggested, Pam Bondi informing the president, do you think this will continue to be pushed under the rug for the foreseeable future?
My advice would be just put everything on the table. Whatever people have got, put it on the table. And yes, Bill Clinton needs to be questioned. What was that blue dress about? There is far more here to actually talk about. It's deeply concerning which three-letter agencies are involved and beyond. I think in any situation, you then turn around and say, right, here are the files, get everything out. But of course, people would turn around and say, the previous 4 years, were those files doctored by the previous administration, Joshua? There is so much up in the air, and then it creates whatever you release, people won't believe you at all. This is the difficult situation that the administration is in, and people were very they had a lot of high expectations when Kash Patel became head of the FBI, along with Dan Bongino as his number two, and people still have those expectations. They want the truth out. They want everything on the table.
Mark Sutherland, thank you ever so much for joining us on both of those topics. We will, of course, continue to bring you updates on the ongoing Russia